So what is it like to do business with your best friend? You talked about how you guys were best friends back then, and I assume you probably are still pretty close. So what is that experience like when your business is also a part of like your everyday life and is probably a part of a lot of your conversations and everything like that?
So, Keela and I love talking about this subject because we definitely see a narrative in the co-founder entrepreneurial space that it will never work to work with your best friend and it will ruin your relationship and don't work with family. And we definitely have seen that a lot and we have heard that a lot from other business owners and their relationships end very negatively. So that is true in a lot of cases, but for us, I guess I love talking about it because it has been the reason that we were able to create a successful business. And I would have never done it alone. Keely would have never done it alone. So the fact that we were doing this together, we were as both extremely committed, like really from day one to building this business together. That gave us so much more confidence than we would have had if we just were like going out on our own. And I have incredible respect for founders that are, single founders, like that don't have a partner. Being a founder is extremely hard and difficult and can be lonely even when you have a partner. And I just cannot imagine doing it alone because there's just so many times where something is happening and no one, even the closest people in your life, really won't fully understand what's happening because they're not like in it day to day. Like it's been the two of us from day one who have been just like knee deep in our business since day one, and we know everything. We have all the history. We've just like been in it together, and that really is the reason that we've been able to create a successful company. And I know it doesn't work for everyone, and again, we've seen that, but I think, for Keely and I, it's really from the beginning, I think we just had this shared understanding and commitment without really even verbalizing it. Like, it's kind of crazy when I think about it, but we just had this sense that, like, we were going to build a business together and it was going to be successful and we were going to have a lot of fun doing it. Like, that's how we approached it from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really, kind of the attitude that we continue to approach our business with. And that's definitely not to say that there haven't been hard times and that sometimes I think we both feel like, oh, I wish we could just be friends. Like we're not normal, quote unquote, normal friends because our business really does. I mean, it takes priority and it's really taken over our last decade of our lives. And so there are definitely moments that, I mean, I'll just speak for myself, but I kind of miss our old relationship. I'm like, oh, I wish we could just be friends. And when we hang out, not be like, okay, we need to talk about these 5 things. These are really pressing things. We need to figure this out. And sometimes I miss that. But it just, it's the sacrifice that we've had to make to grow our business. And we wouldn't have this business if it wasn't for each other. So when I have those moments, I'm like, you know what? It's worth it. We probably won't be doing this forever, like forever, like for the next, when we're 40 or whatever it is. And I know that we will have a friendship again where it's like, oh, remember when we were like young and growing our business together? Like, I know that we're going to look back like when we're a lot older and have these amazing memories together of growing wild friends.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely, yeah. So I think for people that are considering going into business with like family or friends, it's like, it can be amazing and you have to like work at it being amazing. You have to just like work on your relationship and be super honest and transparent with each other. We give each other the benefit of the doubt. That's one of our, company values is if the other person does something and you're like, oh, I wouldn't have done it like that, or why did she do that? We always give each other the benefit of the doubt, and that just really erases so much potential conflict. I think, there's a lot of times in business situations where, people just harbor a lot of I don't know, I guess negativity or towards the people they're working with and their partners. And we just have completely avoided that. And if there's an issue, we talk about it immediately and move on. Like neither of us we're not really dramatic people. So I think that also
Yeah.
helps. So yeah, so 10 years in, I mean, we're still best friends. And so many people say like, wow, that's a miracle. It's amazing. You guys are still friends. Our moms were extremely worried in the beginning. They were like, well, you might ruin your relationship because of this. And we did not. We're like, whatever. They don't know what they're talking about. And I'm like happy to say that I mean, of course they were, just trying to warn us and be cautious, but I'm happy to say that like we kind of proved them wrong in a way. It's just
Mm-hmm.
like, no, we didn't ruin our relationship. And it's, kind of like the strongest, it's the thing that has really tied the last decade together is our friendship. And it's so much a part of our story. So I can't really imagine, I mean, I can't imagine running the business with anyone else.
Yeah, and I have to imagine that it's helpful that you didn't both go into this business like, let's make $1 million, let's become business owners and get rich, and this is our vision. It kind of happened organically. So I have to imagine that probably helpful in maintaining your friendship as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. I think when I think to other business relationships that I know haven't worked out, I think there is like a part of that is, maybe there's one founder and they bring someone else in at a different time, or they've maybe started it for a few months and then they're like, okay, I need help, I need to hire someone. But it just, yeah, for us, since we've been at the same level and at the same stage, like since day one, we've seen everything, we've been through everything together. So there's just like built-in mutual respect for each other, and just knowing that, again, we're just like equally committed, we're always on the same page, and if we're not, we're like very close to being on the same page about everything. So yeah, I think just like also the stage of life we were in was the same. I think, I mean, there's so many factors that
Mm-hmm.
contribute to business relationships and partnerships not working out, and I think they're all valid. I'm like, yeah, I can totally understand that, but for us, I think luck did play a huge part in it, of just, it's like, yeah, we were in the same stage of life. We were excited about the same things. We both were equally as passionate about growing the business. And I really, you can't downplay those in any, I think those are just huge factors to, a co-founder relationship working out.
Yeah. How do you balance out each other's strengths and weaknesses? Like, how do you balance out working together and getting the best out of yourselves and working towards
Mhm.
the business together using each of your strengths?
So a great example of that is from basically the first week of starting Wild Friends. So we knew we had something, a potential with these yummy peanut butters that we were making, because everyone we gave them to was like, oh my gosh, where can I buy these? Like that was people's first
Yeah.
reaction. They wanted to continue eating it. And they're like, well, what happens when I, finish this jar? So we obviously were thrilled by that. And my first response was, okay, everyone we know needs to know about this immediately. Like, we're going to create a Facebook. We're going to tell everyone. We're going to post about this. We're going to tell everyone to like meet us at the farmer's market. And we're going to get shirts for all of our friends. And everyone's going to like help us and spread the word. So my mind, without knowing it, was like, how do we market this? How do we spread the word?
Uh
How
huh.
do we tell everyone we know that this is an amazing business that we've just started and we want everyone to buy our peanut butter? And again, this is maybe a week or 2 weeks in, like so fresh, and that's where my mind went. Keely's mind went to, buying like starting a business 101 and accounting for dummies and how to make a website. So we, from the beginning, just recognized that we had very different skills and we just leaned really hard into them. And I think that also has contributed to our success as co-founders 10 years later, because we're interested in very different things naturally, and we've just gravitated towards those in the business and kind of stayed in our lanes. And of course, there's tons of stuff that we work on together. And in the beginning, there was a lot more where we felt like we did everything together, went everywhere together, took every phone call together. Like we had the same email account, all of that. But as the business grew and as we got busier, the dividing and conquering of projects and tasks and just like what we were going to manage, that was so easy for us. And again, I think this is where kind of like luck plays into this, because we've never had a dynamic where it's like, oh, I'm jealous that she gets to do that, I really want to do that. Where I think sometimes in partnerships, if you're too similar, that happens a lot, and that can be really detrimental, because then
Mm-hmm.
that's where like the resentment builds up, and you're like, well, I wish I could do it better, or I want to be doing that, or I want to spend my time doing that. Where we've honestly never had that, and it allows us to, just really focus on the things that we're good at and lean in. So Keeley, like an easy way to think about it is like Keeley's always kind of been like doing like back end, quote unquote, back end stuff, like anything that's like, like deep computer work and spreadsheeting and figuring out our finances and raising money. Like that's where her focus has been, and operations as well. And then mine's been really focused on like product, anything in marketing, like customers, very like relationship and product, oriented. So it's been a very, that's like something that we really didn't even have to have a conversation about. So again, there's a theme there where there's things that just, it was such like a natural fit and a natural progression, I guess, of our relationship to start a business together.